Hello, welcome to this video on solving quadratic equations by factorising. Thanks for stopping by at mrwilsonmaths.co.uk. As I say, in this video we are going to solve by factorising a quadratic equation. Let's start with x squared plus 5x plus 6. It's a nice one to get us going. Okay, now if you're specifically interested in why factorising lets us solve quadratic equations, or indeed if you want to know whether or not a particular quadratic equation can be factorised, check out one of my other videos on that subject. This video is just to remind us how to solve a nice simple quadratic equation by factorising. Now I'm calling this one simple because you probably noticed that the coefficient of x squared is 1. Okay, that's a posh way for saying there's only one x squared. If there were 2x squared, then the coefficient of x squared would be 2. But in this case, because it's 1, it's a little bit easier. Now, like I said, we are going to factorise it. That means breaking this side of the equation down into two other pieces of algebra, which when multiplied together still equals 0. So basically, these two pieces of algebra in the brackets multiplied together are equal to this piece of algebra. And that's what factors are. Factors are the building blocks of other numbers. They're things that multiply together to make other numbers. I like these ones where the x squared coefficient is 1 because they're nice and simple. In fact, they're so simple that I like to think I can solve them in the morning before I've even started my day. The reason I say morning is because another way to say morning is AM, and it reminds me that to factorise this I need to find two numbers which add to 5 but multiply to 6. So start with the multiplying because that helps. Pop over here and just write down the factor pairs for the numbers which I multiply to make 6. I'm going to stop there because I've already noticed that 2 and 3, a factor pair of 6, will add to 5. So I'm happy with that. I could have gone on and written some factors such as -1 and -6, -2 and -3, but we didn't need to. Okay, so what I do is, because it's 1x squared, I place an x in each bracket, and then the two numbers that I identified which multiply to 6 and add to 5, I take them in any order. They're both positive numbers, and I complete the factors with those. So basically what I've done is I've replaced this side of the equation with an equal but different piece of algebra, which is two factors. Now, if you needed to convince yourself that when I multiply these together, I do in fact get x squared plus 5x plus 6, then watch one of my videos on expanding double brackets. Okay, but now we're at this stage, we just got to apply a bit of logic. If I've got basically a bit of algebra, which is a number I don't know, multiplied by another bit of algebra, and that equals 0, then two things which multiply to be 0, one of them must be 0, or both of them are 0. So what we can do is we can treat it as if they're both 0. So I take each of the factors in turn, and I write x plus 2 equals 0, and I write x plus 3 equals 0. We're nearly there now. We've nearly found the solutions to this quadratic equation, which we should have said right at the start. Quadratic equations normally have two solutions. So let's take this equation, x plus 2 equals 0. Okay, we'll just go over the basics. I like to solve equations by telling myself a story. X and someone has added 2. Opposite of adding 2 is subtract 2. I need to do that from both sides because it's an equation. I like to think of that cancelling that out, so I'm left with an x on this side, and on this side of the equal sign I've got 0, take away 2, which is -2. Again, on this side, x, someone has added 3. I want x, so let's reverse that add 3 by subtracting 3. We must do that from both sides because it's an equation and we need to keep it balanced. I like to think that that cancels that out, leaves me with x equals 0 take away 3 negative 3. And here we have the two solutions that we were looking for. Now,